Have you ever found yourself floating on a ball of dirt, rock, and water, floating around this huge ball of nuclear fusion at 66,000 miles per hour? Well, then you might have been very close to what we call outside of the grid.
Welcome to the show. So with me, with the way my mind thinks, is that I want to micro in on something. And what I've been trying to get my microscope zoomed in on is what happens right after the murder. What did Richard Allen do? Well, let's have a drink of coffee for just a second. Is that delicious or what? I mix my own coffee. I get a French roast and a mocha, and it's probably about 1/4 mocha, and it's so delicious. Sometimes I take the mocha out though, or don't add it, and add in a little bit of chai tea. It's just as good, right? It's good morning or night, but I prefer it at night. A little chai at night. Although that's kind of dumb because it'll keep you up for 2 days. That black tea in there. Boing, 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 boing. So, back with our man Richard Allen, we assumed that he was, on the bridge and brought the girls down the hill and whatever happened to make them land over there near Ron Logan's property. I'm leaving everything open because I have no idea. But let's just say that it was Richard Allen that facilitated the girls being led off of the bridge. In other words, the kidnapping. We can assume that he was, involved in the kidnapping, which is one part of the felony murder that he was accused of. 2 felonies going on, a murder and another felony. So we can assume that, just from he's the only one that's been charged so far, although McClellan, the actual prosecutor in Delphi, Carroll County, has suggested that he doesn't believe that Richard Allen is the only actor involved. We don't believe that he's the only actor involved. Whatever that only actor involved. Is that it? Anyway, it's very squishy. It's not very prickly. It's very goo. It's like, it's nothing really specific that he's given us there. So we can assume that he, Richard Allen, the guy that we've all come to have our little favorite names for, I don't have a favorite name for him right now. I don't like the dude, what I know of him so far. Well, I don't dislike him either, I don't know what's going on here. I can't comprehend, this is probably most of it. It's like, you hear all these conspiracy theories. And it's like, I've heard so many people say it. It's like, he didn't do this. This is a conspiracy of, the ex-mayor and this and that. And, you still hear all that out there. But you just have to go on the evidence that's being presented, even if it's, some grand conspiracy. Let's just play along with whatever the official narrative is. And the official narrative is that, he was down there at the murder site or through the woods there until he was seen at whatever time by a witness on 300. It says she saw someone that was muddy and bloody. So that's where I'm at right there. That's where you start, with me. I can't even imagine, I've done some dumb things, And, sometimes when you do dumb things, you realize the importance of things you got to do right then, I've not been the most perfect person, but I've never done anything like a murder or anything like that, but like just make dumb decisions like in a relationship or something. And, there's always some kind of a cover up, that's the first thing that people want to do. They want to cover it up. But typically, we all know that the cover-up is what gets you caught. If we back up a little bit to whatever created this monster that killed these girls, I don't know. There's been no kind of a connection shown with, the Kleins to me. I don't know what's going on with that, I know Kagan's probably, that's all done. There's nothing changed on any of Kagan's things. He's still pleading guilty according to papers that we've all seen floating around out there in the the Redditosphere, YouTubesphere, Discordosphere, So there's nothing changed there. So there, right now, we can't suppose that that there's anybody involved with Delphi but Richard Allen. And we don't have to have that. I heard, Julia, I heard her talking about, well, someone drunk couldn't do all that. Well, yeah, they can. It depends on where you're at in the drunk process. Who knows what happened? If he pulled up out there at whatever time it was, 37, whatever, 39, whatever it was, 10 minutes before the girls got there, whatever it was. Probably longer than that. But anyway, he pulls up. He's sitting in his vehicle. Something just happened. I don't know what it was. An argument with his wife, his daughter, both of them. They found him doing something. He's just fucking pissed. His wife may even be gone over a couple towns over, 30, 40, 50 miles over, wherever, And he's there, and let's just play that game. So he's there, and he has a few drinks, and he kills off a bottle, or whatever. We don't even know what's in his jacket. Could be a bottle there, too. We can see that Sig Sauer in there. If you have any sense at all, you can see that Sig Sauer in the front of that jacket right there. There's no doubt about that. So, he kills it off. He runs down through there. He's pissed off. He just wants to get away. And he's had to deal with a couple people we've met along the way. He's like, oh, shit. Of course, they weren't near where he wanted to go. He wanted to be out there on that bridge. That's where he wanted to be, it seems like. I don't know. Either that or he was supposed to meet somebody there. We don't have any proof of that. We don't have any proof whatsoever that Richard Allen's supposed to meet anybody anywhere. Later on, we may figure that out. But right now, we just have a guy that's out there on the bridge, and he has a drinking problem, probably. We've heard that. It's just been too much. We see pictures of him in the corners guzzling. Every time I see pictures of Richard Allen not on the bridge, he has a drink in his hand. If he's not at work. I did see him one time laying on a shelf. Let's have another drink of coffee. So anyway, he gets the girls down the hill. Now what happened there is just confusing to me because I don't know the motive. I don't know what happened there. I have no idea. One thing that we've always looked at here is the runes, And I don't know. I mean, it just seems like there's just such a huge part of the narrative. Now, it may be interpreted wrong. It may not have anything to do with Odin. It may be a Christian thing. I've heard that tossed around out there with maybe Sleuth and Ruckus and others. And of course, there's different narratives. I mean, there's not just one narrative that goes on with that. Of course, we don't even know what that, it may be a K written there, Who knows? I mean, Richard Allen may have been trying to set up Kagan. Who knows? Who knows? We have no idea. But I'm just going to assume that Richard Allen was the only one there. But I feel weird about assuming that. Because who knows? But let's just do what Richard Allen, because we have a little bit of information on what Richard Allen did after that. And then I want to compare it to other cases that I've read about recently and what their killers did. So he leaves there, and apparently by himself, he's seen on 300. He is, I don't know. Is he determined? I mean, he was like, I'm invincible. I've already done this. People seeing me here, they'll just think that I was, got in a fight. I don't know. Was he thinking about anything? Was he drunk? Was he blittered? Was the alcohol really kicking in then? Was he coming back a little bit? Who knows? He's been there for a couple of hours. How much did he drink? Did he have anything with him? He may be blacked out. I mean, you can black out with alcohol. If he's blacked out and something happened, something that irritated people that are blacked out, I've seen it happen. They just get fucking nuts. It's weird shit that happens. I've had to deal with it, I've had them pull up to places that they didn't even know they were at. They've been drinking for 2 or 3 days and get out with a gun and say, y'all son of bitches better run. And I remember hiding behind a pump house, a water pump house. Ding, 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 ding. So, immediately what happened is that he had to get back to some kind of a safe place. He had to clean up the immediate scene. He had to make sure that what was there. Apparently he didn't look too well, though. You know, he got the fuck out of there. Quick. Did he do anything? Maybe he just staged things. Maybe he didn't think about cleaning up because apparently there was a phone there. There was unspent 40 caliber cartridge there that fit his gun and maybe even had some kind of markings that could tie it to his gun. Cycled through the gun multiple times. We don't know how that's going to tie in. That's the rumor. Did he leave fingerprints? Did he leave DNA? You know, Tobe said there's fingerprints and DNA. I've got the video of it, him saying it. So it's there. Now, you know, is it from the right people? Did someone else go up there and touch those people? Did Pat Brown? There was supposedly, you know, the narrative I've been hearing with Sleuth talking about is that, or Arch or somebody, I don't know. Somebody was talking about there was you know, two parties going on both sides of the creek. And that's where, you know, maybe both groups kind of simultaneously found the girls. But I mean, who knows? I mean, who knows? I don't, you know, you've seen all kinds of ideas on where the girls were found, but they were found up there. And this dude, he murdered, he left some kind of a staging, and then he sits there, and then what happens? You're staging it. Do you sit there and contemplate what you did, or you're like, what the fuck did I just do? What's going on here? What kind of shit's going on here? What did I do? And then he gotta get the hell out of there. He's like, I better keep it low. And he goes to the woods as far as he can without getting up near people's houses or the trail. If he went out by the cemetery, he's got a long way to travel. But we don't know where, you know, Bloody Muddy Witness saw this bloody muddy person on 300 that day. So we don't know where it was, up there near the curve, past where, you know, the main trail entrance is there at Freedom Bridge, or is it where? We don't have no idea where this person came out. But then he's bloody and muddy. We know that. He's got a car sitting there, so he can get the hell out of there pretty quick. We don't know if he came back by on that Hoosier store, Heartland store, whatever it is. We don't know if his car's on there, do we? But I suspect he went home, and I suspect he did some kind of a cleanup. And that's the first thing he's gonna do, and he's probably gonna sleep. But what if he had to go to work? What does a killer do? But anyway, so I don't know. I would like some ideas on what other people believe that the killer did, that Richard Allen did when he go home? Did he go somewhere else? Did he meet up with other people? I mean, he would have to get cleaned up. First thing he would do is probably go home or somewhere to get rid of that clothing. But, you know, we hear one theory that he didn't get rid of the clothing. But then my thing is that the wife is going away, he could wash them, or he could just go buy another jacket. If he had just got it, like, for Christmas or something. No, he had it before Christmas. Maybe. I don't know. You know, there's ways to fix that, you know. There's ways to have a jacket there, and maybe there was blood left on it. If it was the original jacket, he just washed it. But you would think after 6 years of being washed, and anyway, so he's meeting up with somebody. He's doing something. Who knows? The other case that I read about, and it was just a local case here that within just a couple of miles of my house. Let's get another drink of coffee real quick. This guy, Brian Russell, he was in his 50s, early 50s, and there was this girl who was, I don't know, probably early 30s, something like that. He had been busted for meth back in 2016, and he got her over to his house, and they had been, you know, probably drinking and drugging. You can assume. The last time that she was seen was on January the 13th, 2018 at the Norsworthy's, which is a beer store just right across the Louisiana line. That's where people go to buy beer. Run down to Norsworthy's at the Louisiana line, pick up some beer, and then come back to Crossett, which is probably what happened. They got back to the house, you know, partying, you know, it's kind of a... Who knows? But anyway, the the narrative goes is that he wanted to have sex and she did not want to have sex. He got into a fight and he shot her in the head. And then he had to get rid of her and he had to do a cleanup. And he asked someone to help him do a cleanup, which is the person that lived with him, another female, like his friend or whatever it was. I don't know. I have no idea. He could have been his lover, who knows. But so he doing the cleanup, and then of course he had to get rid of the body. So there was 2 dumps. So the first dump was at the Washita River at the Morro Bay Bridge is what they call it, but it's actually a little bit south of Morro Bay, about half a mile. If you look at Morro Bay, then you got to look a little bit south of it. The Washita River Bridge, there you'll find it. If you look around, you can see Washita River after it bends a couple of times there. And then a little bit east of there, about 11 or 12 miles as a crow flies along Beach Creek, they're on 63, I believe. I believe it was on 63. It may be on 160. He may have had to turn south of town there. But, it's about 25, 30 miles. He carried her 25 or 30 miles from his house. And he dropped her off there, we assume, sometimes on the 14th. So, they bought the beer at 6, 7, 8 o'clock. He probably went and dumped her stuff off at probably, who knows? It could have been midnight. It could have been 11 p.m. It could have been 2 a.m. Probably was closer to 2 a.m. Or later, or earlier, who knows? Somewhere around there. He drops off, her belongings, her purse and her ID and all that stuff at Washita River, drives up to Hermitage, Arkansas, 15 so miles away, 10, 12 miles, whatever it is. Drops her body off at the Beach Creek or somewhere around there. And he drives over to Drew County and he gets a DUI, a DWI. And he spends time in jail right after he's killed somebody. And Richard Allen there, he had to go talk to his conservation officer. I'm just trying to figure out what this dude did, what his brain was like, Then he had to mix back in because there's a huge thing going on looking for this person who killed these little girls. And he's already went up there and he's put the fire out. Oh, yeah, I was there. I didn't see them, I didn't see these girls. So there's huge fire going on all around him, and he's, some people know he was there. He's confessed to it. He was dressed like that. I mean, this guy must have been a panic inside. It looked like he was stressed out. It looked like he gained a lot of weight after that. Like, Jesus, you would think so. Of course, he's definitely lost all that weight now. But you know what? The motive would depend on what he did, after the murder. I mean, he's going to feel some guilt at some point in time, for sure. He's going to realize that everything he did wasn't perfect. Even though, let's just say that he didn't mean to do it, or that he did mean to do it for a while, he's going to be like, yeah, it's fucking people that did this and did that and whatever, and they pissed me off, or they caught me taking a dump, or I fell down, whatever happened, who knows? I want to know so bad. But right now I want to know what you think this guy did the 24 hours after he murdered these girls. Oh, and thanks for visiting the channel and the show. Please like and subscribe.